Hi, Dumpster Divas. Welcome back to another episode of the show, and it is a day I have been waiting for so long. We're chatting America's Next Top Model for actually a couple episodes here, and I feel like you guys are probably a little over me talking about this show for the last couple weeks, but you're gonna have to forge ahead. We got a little bit more time, a little more things to talk about, and there's nothing I love more than diving into millennial trauma with my fellow millennials. And one of the king of the millennials is here with us, Troy McEady from Beyond the Blinds. Welcome to the pod again, and thank you so much for being here.
I'm, first of all, a king of the millennials. That is like...
I think you're one of our millennial, like, North Stars.
God.
You and Kelly know so much about millennial pop culture. Like, I think I know a lot, but y'all far surpass that.
Well, thank you. That's an honor. Say that at my funeral. Don't forget. Be like, he was the millennial North Star. I'm so excited to be here. I'm like very, very excited to record with you.
I think one of the first times we had you on the show, we recapped an episode of America's Next Top Model with my sister, back in like 2021 or something. Like,
I was gonna ask if you remembered that.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, of course I remember that. It's a show that for me has always meant so much to me because like it just was an entry, that and the VH1 reality space were my entry into reality television. But pre-watching this documentary, like where did ANTM sit in your spirit?
So there's like a handful of shows that I don't know if I would say I pride myself, but like I just have never not watched. Like, I never missed an episode of, like, Project Runway, for example. Like, I watched, like...
Same.
And I followed it to Lifetime, and I'd watch Junior, and, like, I just, for whatever reason, was always on that ride. And Top Model was one of those shows for me. Pot Lead'em or whatever we're calling it.
That will always bother me. She in that All-Star season when they did the music video, and they have a song called Pot Lead'em Top Model Backwards, but that is actually not Top Model Backwards. What that is Model Top.
When I heard them bring up Pot Lead'em in the doc, I was like, I hate that I immediately know what that is. Like, I'm disgusted. But I've never not watched the show. I watched it in real time. I watched it with my family. It was really big with me and my mom and my grandmother. And I never missed a season. I took it it's like at the beginning, I took it very seriously. I was like, this is like prestige. These girls are going to go become real models. Like, and then towards the middle, it just kind of became like an indulgence. And then I think at the end, it felt like a show that was like dying, that I was just watching still, kind of.
It's funny that like they go through this in the documentary, but like you can see the light in Tyra's eyes really leave her towards like that back half of the series, and it's wild how long it went on, and how people like you and me kept up with every single frame.
I know.
Every frame.
I know, and you could also tell when Tyra like didn't really believe in what they were doing anymore. Like it just had jumped the shark so much. Like I think by the time they like added boys and stuff, it was just like, and they're like the judges or the audience are the judges through digital web. It's like, what's going on now?
I know, it was just so clunky, but I'm with you. I think the first season I watched live was maybe season 8 or 9. I think season 9, but I had already seen all the earlier seasons on when they would just run reruns, because my sister and I were just obsessed with sitting at home on a Saturday or Sunday and having on VH1 they would play like episode 1 through episode 15. You could rot in bed all day and watch the entire cycle, and those are some of my fondest memories of my adolescence, I have to tell you. So then I was like, well, we should just start watching the show live. Like, we love the show. We should TiVo it. TiVo was all the rage. And I was like, wait, we should be TiVoing ANTM. What are we doing? And then, I was watching it on my laptop, like on my chest in college, like in my dorm room still, like keeping, like, you know that like sometimes it's comforting to watch something on your laptop. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, are you kidding me? Say less. That's like, I have shows that I save for my like laptop in bed. Yeah. Like where I want to watch it. Like, I don't, it's like a different experience.
It's weird. I can't explain it. I think it's also a millennial thing. I think because like we had laptops before we had like TVs in our like dorm rooms situation. Like I don't know, we didn't have tablets. Like it was like, and we couldn't watch things on our phones. Like they didn't have, you couldn't watch TV on your phone. And so there's just something so comforting about like curling up with your laptop and just being like, my girls.
And like,
wait, what are your laptop shows?
Anything that I binge like this, like I love indulgent stuff.
Yeah.
Like anything that I'm gonna watch like 40 episodes of in a row, or like, or if I am rewatching something that I already like, if I watch like The Simple Life for the 3,000th time, like I love doing that on my laptop in bed, like cozy vibes, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It needs to be something like that. I completely agree. So we're here to talk about, we're going to talk about part 1 and 2, and then just sort of some general thoughts on what kind of was in here and what was left out. And guys, make sure to check out part 2 of the ANTM doc recap that will be out later this weekend with Kate Kennedy from Be There in 5, who also I view as another great millennial creator. So trying to get all the millennial creators here to chat about this.
It's like Captain Planet. We're all putting our millennial rings together.
Yeah. But so Netflix, announced that they're doing this documentary. This is a part of a greater series called Reality Check, which I believe is the Biggest Loser doc was in the same like family as this, which that was crazy in its own right. And I think this is a genius idea just in general, like going through all of these reality shows and kind of debunking what worked and what didn't. I think like some of them aren't as salacious as others probably, but like, what do you think would be ripe for like the next version of this doc?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned it earlier. I think the VH1 shows need to have their moment. Like, I think it's time to like, those for that group of people, like their fame was cut short in such a traumatic way because of like a murder.
Right.
So it's like, we just
if you don't know the story, we don't have time to talk about it, but go Google I Love Money murder, essentially. And you can get kind of the lore there.
Yeah, it just was so like unceremonious the way that it ended. It was just like, well, moving on. Like now we do different we do love shows and like this is done. And we just moved on from it really fast. There was no explanation really. And it's like also crazy because the producers of those shows pivoted and went on to like make Below Deck and like all these other shows happened because of that ending. But it's time to talk about how those people were treated by those producers. I'm sure it wasn't great. Like, I'm sure Megan Hauserman wasn't like being treated like a princess by the producers of,
no,
I would love to know about that. And the drinking, like the addiction stuff on like Rock of Love, like all those girls were always like wasted, like.
No, I mean Flavor of Love and Rock of Love both had wild. I can't imagine what it was like on set every day because it felt like the Wild Wild West. There just weren't a lot of parameters and protections around these people. It's like, I think you just kind of signed your life away and to let the producers do whatever it is that they want to with you. And similar to America's Next Top Model, those Rock of Love girls, they would get insanely blasted, like vomiting on themselves every episode, and we would watch it, and in hindsight I feel kind of bad.
Like, that there was like a tray of cocaine in one of those weird rooms that they all just went in. And I also remember hearing about how all the girls fucked Brett. Like every single girl just took turns fucking Brett the entire time, and they didn't show any of that stuff. So I don't know, I just think that there's a lot of stuff there that we could there's a lot to learn still about all that experience, What about you? What show would you do?
I would definitely want the VH1 reality. I just don't know how they go about it because there's so many shows. Like in the end, we need to get to I Love Money. Like the story needs to lead there because obviously it was like a feeder show for all of that, and that's where it all imploded. So I'd definitely say that. But I also think one that would be really interesting that people aren't talking about a lot is American Idol. Like, I think they promised a lot to those contestants, and a lot of them have not gone on to do much of anything at all, similar to America's Next Top Model. And, even the ones that have had a ton of success are often the ones that didn't even make it, till the end. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot there. Like we're past making the band being one because of everything that's happening with Diddy, obviously. Like I think we kind of already have the answers to that through the Diddy docs, but like maybe some like real world and road rules one too. That's I don't know as much about that world as I think you and Kelly do, but I think there's probably good stuff there. Well, let's dive into this though. Okay. So it is crazy to me that Tyra said yes to sitting in that chair for this documentary with her Inspector Gadget coat on. And it doesn't have an EP credit on this at all. I mean, she has no control over it. What was your like reaction when you found out that she would even be a part of it?
Well, I was shocked up until the very last second when she was like, "And wait until you see what happens for cycle 25." I was like, "Oh, okay. She's still Tyra. At the end of the day, she's still Tyra." This has taken over her life, whether she likes it or not. I think she's tried her damnedest to ignore this and like not acknowledge it, not give it whatever. She's like said random public statements about it throughout the years, but just like very randomly. Like there was like an acceptance speech she gave at like a fashion event where she like talked about how this is so controversial now, but she changed the world and whatever. But she clearly like didn't want to talk about it, and it feels like she just had to do it. Like she had to step ahead of this somehow and be brave and just sit down and take the lashing. So I wasn't really shocked, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it probably would have been even crazier for her to not sit for it. Like for as crazy as her sitting and giving kind of nothing for 3 hours, like it probably, you're right. It probably would have been more insane if she wasn't present for it. But in addition to Tyra, we have Miss J, Mr. J, Nigel Barker. We get a very random appearance by Nole Marin, which was so funny to me. I'm like, damn, I bet you he sat for hours and they included him only in that 1 second.
I know.
I think those are all the judges we got. I wish we had gotten Twiggy or Paulina
or Janice.
Or Janice, but Janice has made her way over to what is it, Lifetime? The other doc that's coming out.
Yeah, I think is it VH or is it Lifetime? I forget.
I think it's Lifetime. I think it's a series about different reality shows. So every episode is about a different show. Right. So guys, in March there is an episode of this, like, I think it's called Dirty Rotten Scandals, which is a weird title, but it's all about reality shows. So there's like a Dr. Phil episode. There's a Price is Right episode, which was great. That one I'm almost like, wait, I want to know what happened on The Price is Right. I mean, I know Bob Barker is a piece of shit, so
that one's gonna be good. The Barker Beauties are gonna have a lot to say.
The Barker Beauties will be barking. And then there's an ANTM one that does have Janice Dickinson involved, but Janice was not involved in this. But then for contestants, we have Bree from Cycle 5. Love. They picked a good bunch of girls too for contestants. So for sure. Bree, Shannon from Cycle 1, Whitney, who's the winner of Cycle 10, Joni, and Danny, both from Cycle 6, my favorite top two. Ebony Haith, who I said this on a recent episode, but I actually worked with Ebony in the city for a while.
Whoa, what was that like?
It was crazy. So it was when I was working when I was a spin instructor for a long time in the city, and she worked at one of our studios with the front desk team as like a day gig while she was like doing some sort of acting or modeling gig at night, and she just wanted some extra coin. Wow. And to get free classes in. And I walked into the studio one day and I was like, she was standing behind the front desk and I was like, it was as if, to me, I mean, I grew up on this woman. Like I walked in and I was like, Ebony?
Oh my God.
And she was like, hey. And I'm like, Ebony.
Like the Ebony.
Like, hey, I'm like the lesbian Ebony.
Yeah.
My queer awakening Ebony.
Like the
And she was
OG
so
meme
kind.
from the show.
I know, and we don't give enough respect to that meme. It really was to me a breakout meme of the show. Outside of obviously we were rooting for you, because it was also not the we were rooting for you moment is so dark,
Right.
you know, and especially in hindsight, that moment is not dark. It's like very funny and hilarious. It's not taken out of context. It's literally just her being like, she's crying and she's like, oh, gotta get it together.
Yeah.
The cameras are on.
She was such great TV, like just such a good like personality to be on TV.
And you know what? I mean, I believe Ebony and Danny out of this doc had kind of their breakout performances. I think really standout moments for both of them that people will want to hear more from both of them after this, and maybe even not in the ANTM world, because ANTM universe, just like there's just some more name recognition put behind them, I think, for doing this. And Ebony looked gorgeous.
Yeah,
I was
know.
obsessed with her sitting in that chair. She looked stunning. She's exactly the same. Some tea she gave me back in the day when we worked together that she didn't bring up here was she talked a lot about, also allegedly, just to cover my ass here, but she talked a lot about how Tyra really tried to kind of like befriend these season 1 girls a bit when they were filming, because it was just such like grassroots, like we're filming in a hotel, we're filming in a closet, we're filming, like they just didn't have anything. And I think in the beginning, Tyra really thought that group was her like way. She made them feel like they were a part of a team to kind of get to the top of the ratings. And then my kind of understanding from what she told me was like she felt like she kind of got dropped by her. Like after the show aired, she thought that they were like all buddy, and then the show aired and it was massive success. And then it was kind of like, well, I'm moving on to new girls, which, you know, I understand why that all went down, but I think that was some of what she had said at the time to me. And this was like probably 7-8 years ago, was that was what kind of bummed her out about her. One of the things that bummed her out about her experience. But, you know, back then she said she had a book that she was writing that she wanted to get out there. And Ebony, we need the book.
Yeah, especially now. Oh my God, it was fate that she didn't put it out, because it needs to happen now.
Yeah.
But that makes complete sense to me, especially given like you could tell that there's like a moment where Tyra realized the girls were expendable. And that they meant nothing, and that they were just chess pieces. And it's like the longer the show went on, the less attached Tyra was to these people as like human beings, to the point that at the end she was like, no, they can die. Like, go, like, cover them in tarantulas and have them scale a skyscraper and blindfold them and grease the runway and blow wind and feathers and let them die. Like, she literally was like, I do not care about these people, even on like a human level, you know? So that makes complete sense.
Yeah. I and it also goes back to like, and this is talked about a lot in the doc, as well as some contestants have. Eva actually said this in an interview. She was like, I think the intentions in the beginning were always right. She just cared a little bit more about the money aspect of it all, ratings, all of that, than actually taking care of the people in front of her. Because I do think she did care about these girls in the beginning, but I think it jumped the ship after the first 3 cycles, probably.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I just think like, as fucked up as it is, it's like obviously they're going to use Tyra as, you know, Tyra's the thing that disarms these girls. Like, she's the reason that they are there. Like, she's the tool that Ken Mock isn't going to get those girls to do half the shit that Tyra's going to get them to do. Not even Miss J or Mrs. J. So it's like Tyra is the thing that she's that manipulative tool that they can use to like disarm the girls, push them to do stuff they don't want to do, feel safe, feel vulnerable. And she knows, like, it's fucked up, but it is the reality. It's like, that's the reason she's there, is to like make them feel comfortable, unfortunately.
It's part of the job, sadly. I mean, it's showbiz, kids.
Yeah, like,
bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then we also have a couple others that are included. We have Giselle from season 1. We have Dion from season 8, who I forgot about this woman. I'm like, oh my God, there's a crazy story that happens later on with her that I also did not realize. I loved Cycle 8 with Dion and Jocelyn, that whole crew. I forgot about. I need to revisit that season.
Yeah.
And then I said Danny. Yeah, we had Danny. So I think that's all of our contestants that were in the mix. We also have Ken Mock shows up a couple times, as well as the head of UPN at the time, who to me had one of the biggest impacts actually in the doc was the UPN exec, because she kind of spelled it out like she was kind of just like, tough luck, y'all. Like, this is just I almost respected her doubling down more than Tyra sitting and being quiet about everything. Like, she was like, that's the biz, y'all. And then they show her just walking out of the room. And it's like, do I think she's a good person? No, but at least she's standing 10 toes down into her decisions, where Tyra, you know, she spends a lot of the stock kind of skirting away from confrontation.
I saw a lot of people say the same thing about Miss J. It was like, at least Miss J is sitting there and owning, like, there's no qualms about what they did. He's like, yeah, it was entertaining. It was, yep, we did it.
She was like, I was mean.
Yeah,
we did it.
I made fun of all those girls. And Tyra was like, that was actually a producer's job to do that, and I can't talk about that. It's like,
so insane.
Oh my God, like, what is the point of you being here if you're not going to own anything?
I know. I thought that, what did you think about Miss J, Mr. J, and Nigel's performances in the doc overall?
The J's were, it's like, it's hard to even put into words like what they meant for that show. Like, there was no top model without them, you know?
I know, and you know, I think they are some of our like queer pop culture curators in a way. Like, I think a lot of us didn't watch content with queer people in it outside of America's Next Top Model for a long time, because it either didn't exist, we weren't allowed to watch it, or we didn't know how to find it. Like, those, for me, Miss J, Mr. J, and then Sean Hayes on Will and Grace were like the 3 people that I was like, oh, gay people are okay. Like, gay people are normal. Gay people are funny and charismatic, and there's opportunities. Like, I know that they did bad things in the way that they talked down to these women, but I do kind of give them a little more grace, just because like they're climbing a much bigger uphill battle than Tyra was at this point in her career. Like, she had a name for herself. They're just they just latched themselves to this machine in my brain, and we're kind of knee deep into the muck of it.
No, I 100% agree with you. And I honestly think like it was just such a perfect vehicle to disarm people about queerness. Because it was like, you know, Tyra brought up that originally she wanted the show to be like a mix of the Real World and like, American Idol, and it's like that was the Real World element of it, where you had like the occasional queer model on the show, and then you had the Jays, and it wasn't that they were just like kind of gay, they were like super 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 gay. And you know, seeing Miss J like walk in heels, and you know, and then and the fact that they were both like really credible, like Miss J had like taught real models how to walk, like had a real career, was an icon. It was just like a really nice way for like middle America people to be like, all right, this is cool. You know what I mean? Enough moving images and like shiny objects to even like be like, all right, I can sit through an hour of this with my dad. You know?
Yeah, right. No, I agree. And need we not forget Miss J taught Cynthia Bailey how to walk. He was on Real Houses of Atlanta, and they go back to the beginning days.
What's really going on?
Her days in New York. Yeah, right? So the first episode spends a lot of time breaking down cycles 1 and 2, which I love this, but I honestly would love to I would have watched an episode on a cycle. Like, that's like how, you know, because you know there's info on every cycle. Get the girls from every cycle together, talk about their trauma. I mean, the amount of time we spent on cycle 1, I wish we could have allocated also to some of the other ones too.
I
But
agree.
so cycle one, they go into like the casting and putting the show together, and we spent a lot of time with Shannon, Ebony, and Giselle. And this show really was like, they didn't give a number to the budget, but this budget was like zero. They were in a hotel. I wanted to figure out which hotel that was in the city, but they filmed the entire thing they revealed in that hotel. The penthouse of the hotel was where they all lived and did all of their mini challenges, did all of those things. And then they just went downstairs to judging in like a ballroom. And then
Yeah.
I believe a lot of the photo shoots happened there as well, like just in a different room. And the shots of the judging panel where they're literally all like squeezed together on like a like a convention table.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
convention
With like a
room
sheet
tablecloth.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just like hung up like, drapey curtains and like put some plants up, and they had no money. Like they really had no money. It's crazy.
And made it work. And made great content out of it.
Yeah.
Some big standout moments from Cycle One. Someone I wish was in here was Robin, because Robin made such an impact on Cycle One, negatively and positively. I mean, she is sadly had some very dated POVs on queerness, but also was like kind of a villain and a huge character, breakout star from Cycle One.
Amazing, like
But
real world kind of character,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we spent a lot of time with Ebony and what happened with Robin. So Ebony brought her girlfriend into the house, which was so brave of her to do. In what was this, 2004, I think? 2003? Like, damn.
I know. So controversial.
She's the star for just showing up like that with her. And like,
I know. And to show to show a true queer black like love story with these two women, like that scene of her like doing her hair and like kissing her forehead. I was like, God, this is so sweet. Like I can't remember what I was thinking when I saw that, but it had to have been like, wow, like this is so cool to be able to see this,
No, I agree. These things are formative for queer kids.
Yeah.
Seeing queerness represented in a way that feels just so attainable, and that was really beautiful. But I forgot about the season 1 makeover situation with Ebony, where they show this scene. I fully blocked this out. Did not remember this. When they did makeovers, they went to some salon in the city and they did not have the right clippers to accommodate for black women's hair texture, and tried to shave her head and just royally fucked up her head. Bald spots, like damage to her scalp, all this stuff. And meanwhile, on camera, just blatantly were making jokes about the texture of her hair, and left that in the edit and put it on national television. How disgusting. I mean, truly.
It's such a perfect example of Tyra talking, it's like creating this space like where models can feel safe and we can right the wrongs of the industry and all this stuff, but then actually creating like the perfect environment for it to not be that. And like, it's like, how hard would it have been for you, a black woman running this show, to make sure that there was one person of color in the salon, or I don't know, clippers that you knew would work? Like, how hard is it to fucking run clippers on somebody's skull in like a prestige salon that's supposed to be like the best of the best? Like, what an honor to get your hair done here. You don't know how to run clippers over somebody's head. Like, I did that when I was 12 to myself. Like, it's just so appalling. And like, for Tyra to create that environment where something like that would A, happen, and B, be shown on TV, it's like this weird Tyra loop of like, I'm gonna make this right, but instead you're making it worse, and you're like projecting it onto the public, and then we're taking that in. Like, young black girls are watching this girl get her hair cut, and these people are making fun of her and like are appalled by her, and she's crying, and that's what young girls are seeing now. It's so
Yeah,
twisted.
those in the same way that the queer representation is impactful, those moments are also impactful. And
Yeah.
that's why all of that has to be handled with so much care, and it's just it really is so upsetting. You know, something that they didn't talk about in the doc in its whole that is worth diving into, I think, in black spaces, is like her relationship with the black contestants on the show is always very confusing.
Well, I think that one of the biggest kind of like identifiers of Tyra's personality is that she is a very envious, very jealous, very egotistical person, especially for with women that she either like sees a little bit of herself in, other black women. There's something about Tyra and the way she views women as like competition and something to like play with versus like she's not a nurturing woman. She's not comforting. She's not warm. She's not kind. She presents as those things, and like a young girl, I think it's really easy to be manipulated by her. But she's like very cruel. She's quite sadistic when it comes to other women, especially black women. There's a weird thing there, and if you've never, to everybody listening, if you've never watched Tyra interview Naomi Campbell, you can it helps fill in the blank spaces. Like that interaction is so it's like, oh, this is how you view other black women. This
Yeah,
is
she
what
said to Naomi, "I'm scared when I walk in the room and you're there." Like, what are we doing? You said that on national television.
and like to purposely humiliate her to not have an audience, to make her walk out to an empty room.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like that is Tyra in a nutshell. Like this is Tyra, and she's probably like been annoying Naomi Campbell like a fucking fruit fly for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like it's very interesting. But it's sad. The whole her with the black girls make me really sad. And I will tell you
Yeah.
too, as a black person, the makeovers they're fun, but it's traumatic. Like
Yeah.
it's something that has stuck, and I'm not even a black woman, but I grew up in salons my whole life, like with my mom, and like seeing the stuff she would do to black women in those makeovers and how she would humiliate them and embarrass them, and also seeing how she would give white women hair weaves that were meant for black women, and it would like purposely rip out their hair and make them bleed and cause hair loss and shit, and she knew that that would happen because a white woman with stringy blonde hair isn't supposed to have
Can't sustain that type of like
yeah, like and
base
she
of like they
knows,
can't your hair texture can't hold that. Like it's
and she knows, like she knows that better than any person in this world. So it's like, what are you doing right now?
yeah. Yeah, it's really troubling. And but you know, I think there's like I think there's maybe some self-hatred. There's self-hatred, I think, with a lot of the stuff she does. And I think there's also a lot of stuff in relation to how her mom maybe treated her as a model growing up.
Yes.
I think that plays it. She says it. And I don't think we've really ever listened to it, but she says when my mom would talk to me like this, it's because she cared. And it's like, well, caring doesn't always mean yelling. Caring doesn't always mean tearing someone down. And if you felt that you could do that to Tiffany, my thought is your mother has said those exact same words.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Her and her mom's relationship, I've always found very odd. Like her, like my mommy's my best friend kind of thing is just like,
Yeah.
It was very weird. And also too, like I feel like Top Model is a really, I mean, you can look at it and be like, wow, Tyra's really crazy. But if you really want to see how fucked up and sadistic and out of touch with reality Tyra Banks is, her talk show. Her talk show is a look into a woman's madness, truly. Like a woman who is truly
name a community she marginalized and offended them. She spent an episode separating gay and straight and bisexual people, right? And like she just spent all of her energy like she loves to lean into a stereotype. She loves to isolate people, marginalize people. She loves to try and live in a marginalized person's shoes.
Oh God, yeah.
In a salacious way, which comes back to ANTM. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. The episode where she has the girls on is like, ooh, like wow, you brought all of them on here to just humiliate them and make them
Well,
feel
that's a
even
good
worse.
transition, actually. So we get into cycle 2. Like we wrap up cycle 1. The only other thing about cycle 1, kind of, Giselle talks a lot about how she felt so gorgeous on the show. She loved her time on the show, like filming it, and then she was just so shaken by the way that they made her look on television, and kind of like pointed and laughed at her body and things like that. Yeah, that was like the only other big like stand-up moment from cycle 1, I feel like, from breaking it down. But I'm so happy that they gave Giselle a space to talk through that. And also Shannon, they all look gorgeous still. Shannon, it was great to see her again. I always thought she was a superstar from cycle 1.
Her voice is ASMR.
I agree.
It's
I feel
so.
like I would fall asleep to it watching it.
Yeah, it's comforting.
As a kid.
I get taken
Yeah.
back to being like 17 or 16 or whatever watching that.
Agreed. So yeah, then they get to cycle 2. Cycle 1 was a massive hit. Obviously they get a big budget increase. They have like show money now. Like they have a huge set. They have like the set as we know it. And a great cast of characters that I feel like we didn't get to spend enough time with this group of girls, like in the doc. Because Shandi is obviously a superstar and was so gifted at modeling and had no clue. Like these are the stories that these are the types of stories that I loved watching the show growing up, was people like Shandi who like just worked at Walgreens. And then she's like, that photo of her when they're in Italy and she's in the I believe they're in Rome and she's in the Colosseum and she's like leaning, it just literally looks like an Italian Vogue like shoot. It is so amazing.
She might be the most pure representation of what this show is supposed to be.
I agree. I think that's a great point.
I forgot how much I loved her. Like, and it was just heartbreaking. Because it's like, damn, like, you have the thing right here. You have this girl. Like, she's the thing that you guys have created this whole universe around. You have her, and she's perfect, and she's a great model, and, like, the audience loves her, but you can't help but, like, torture her. Why?
Yeah, they had some, I mean, she definitely could have won the show.
Oh my God,
and because of the way because of the way that they did not take care of her, it led to her having to go home, you know. I mean, and other standouts from cycle 2, Camille, obviously, the walk, the face, she's so gorgeous. Camille, I wanted her in this, obviously. She's not here. Do you remember April? I loved April. And then Shandi, Mercedes, and Joanna. That was our top 5. A really great top 5. Joanna also, I believe, is in the other doc that's coming out. She posted. I saw her post about it. She did a little post about ANTM and her experience. I believe she's in, if not in the other doc, has like seen it and commented on how she preferred that one, the way they took care of the story better.
I was gonna say, I saw, of course, I obsessively follow Adrian. I'm like one of her Avon clients. I'm covered in Avon.
Adrian, cycle 1 winner, everyone. Adrian.
Yes. So I follow her pretty obsessively on TikTok and stuff, and of course, like, everybody's asking her about this, and she's talking about it, and she said that the girls were not paid to do this, and she was like, just the irony that these girls are sitting down talking about being underpaid, undervalued, like not being treated well, and then they do this thing, and like Netflix is gonna make so much money from this, and the girls are not getting paid. Like, that is crazy. So I've heard that the other doc like treated them really well, paid them, and that it's actually going to be like really gritty. It's going to talk about all the really bad stuff.
Oh, yay.
I know, yay. There'll be tears, pain. So
but wait, but I have a question though. In general, like for a doc, like, do you get paid? I think they should get paid, but I'm just saying,
Right.
is that industry standard? I don't know, honestly.
I don't think that it's like industry standard. Like I think that it's just like it's like you can afford to pay us, and if it's like
It's
interesting to
Netflix.
see if you choose to or not to.
Yeah, agreed. The budget for this also couldn't have been that high. I mean, they all filmed in that one room. Like,
Right.
it's. I bet you they spent $1 million on this.
Totally.
Like,
They could have
and they
easily
could have spent half the money, and we would have all watched it. Like, they could pay these girls.
they easily could have paid these girls. Like it's just so
Yeah.
ironic.
So the first episode kind of wraps on Shandi being like, I had the time of my life filming the show. I felt like I was really finally getting my next, like seeing what my future could be as a model. And then once this situation happened with the boys and the Vespa drivers at that party in their apartment, she just needed to get out of there. And so we are going to venture into this. Trigger warning, though, there's a lot of sexual assault conversations that happen in this part of the documentary. So if you need to bow out for this for a little bit, I understand. I'll put a timestamp of where that all happens in the show notes. So part 2, we spend a lot of time with the treatment of the girls. We have Shandy's situation and Danny's teeth situation, and also just general like body image narratives throughout. And part 2 to me is like the real nitty gritty here, and there's some tough stuff in here. So Shandi, I don't know about you, Troy, but like I remember watching this for the first time and feeling uncomfortable watching it as a kid. Mm-hmm. What about you?
This is like just one of those early reality TV, like just one of those moments, like like a moment that just burns into your brain for some reason. I will never forget seeing this. I remember it just made me really sad. I was just like, God, like, because I loved her and I wanted her to win the show. And it was like, what an unnecessary thing. Like, an avoidable, unnecessary, weird, stupid fucking thing.
It's I understand that there are situations where when you're filming a documentary, when you're filming a reality show, like where you can't get involved. Like you just have to let it play out. Like for instance, on The Valley, I think this past season with all of the Jax stuff that was going down, and on Vanderpump Rules with Jax, I'm bringing him up just because he's like he's a very violent character on reality television that like there are moments where they probably could have or should have stepped in and been like, let's not film this. But it's like, where's the line between we're documenting your lives or are we protecting you? And I think the conversations have obviously gotten a little bit more nuanced. And I think, Brittany felt protected by the network in many ways with the cameras there probably. But in the early 2000s, I mean, it was the wild, wild west. The cameras were up. Take The Real World, for instance. Like, cameras were just up, rolling, and they didn't really engage. And Ken Mock says this. He's like, it's a show. We just need to keep filming it. And didn't really have any negative things to say about what went down. And this was one of the big standout moments that was so shocking to me is the producers ask Tyra, we're going to talk about the Shandi situation. Like, do you remember what happened there? She gives this bullshit ass, like, Shandi. Who is Shandi? Like, she had to, girl, you remember. You remember. It's one of the biggest scandals that come out of the television show that you were the executive producer on. And it was so upsetting to see her not even acknowledge that story was real.
I know, and I think there's a lot to be said about, even like you bringing up The Valley. It's like, this is still a thing, like how involved the camera people get. Just like, I don't remember what season it was, but like maybe a year or so ago, they had that thing with Below Deck where one of the cast members like had tried to have sex with a cast member who was like wasted and like passed out. And it was like, how involved do we get kind of thing? Like, this is still a thing. So it's like, yeah, like you said, it was the Wild West back then. I mean, I can't even imagine And like those camera guys having to
That's
film
jarring for them
that.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and like she mentioned that they were like they obviously just felt really gross about having to like even be involved and filming her collapsed on the ground in the fetal position crying, and it's just so. But yeah, there is like a it's like where's the line kind of thing. Like they still haven't figured that out even to this day.
No, because as Tyra says, we want more, more, more. You know, like the viewer, which I do think there is a case to that. Like we do want more, but like there is morality here at play, and there is no doubt in my mind that if I was an EP on a show like this and I heard that this was beginning to go down, it's like cut the cameras, like it's a wrap. Like no, this is because at the end of the day, this is affecting the integrity of the IP of America's Next Top Model. It's affecting your legacy, Tyra. I don't know how her brain didn't go to those places where it's like,
Right.
wait, this is the show that I run though. Like, and they're doing this on my show.
And this isn't the show. Like, I understand
No.
being inspired by the real world, but this isn't actually the real world. Like, if that did happen on a show like The Real World, I think there would be a morality thing where you're like, well, wait a minute. Like, we are supposed to literally show every good, bad, and ugly thing that happens to these people. If they're too drunk or whatever, like, if they're too wasted at a bar, if they have a drinking problem, that's the show. This is Top Model. Like, all of the little fun things that happen in the house are a very edited, watered down afterthought. Like the show is not about this; it's about modeling. So we don't like need to see this girl in the fetal position getting broken up with and being called a dumb bitch by her boyfriend. It's not like it will have some big impact on her as a model in this modeling competition show. Like this isn't actually the real world, you know?
Yep. Yep. And I mean, one of them also, well, the other thing about the real world that's not why it's not like this is the real world doesn't have like a greater being that comes in every episode and like saves the day or coaches you on how to be better. The cameras are just running. It's a fully documentary. This has someone who can come in and step in and make things right. And instead, the next day, Tyra shows up for like a girls' day in Italy. And this was one of the most shocking things I saw on the doc too. Like I forgot about this scene, but she sits down with them and she passive aggressively kind of like brings up cheating. And then she just looks at Shandi. She's like, so did you cheat?
That's the
You
real
did,
Tyra.
didn't you? That is Tyra.
That's Tyra.
You're right.
That is talk show Tyra. That's the Tyra that interviewed Naomi Campbell. That is the Tyra that plans those makeovers and knows that they will be negative. Like that is her. That moment where she sat and did that, I was like, oh, I'm so happy they included this because what a true Tyra moment to sit down and shame that girl. Oh my god.
It was chilling. It felt like we were watching like Robert Durst and the Jinx. I was like, this footage is chilling. This was I like just forgot how it all played out. It's been a long time since I've watched Cycle 2. This is not one of my like Cycle 2 was not one of my like go-to rewatch seasons. It just didn't. I kind of fell in love with the franchise, I think, at Cycle 3 and then went back and watched the other two, but so I forgot about how the rest of that all played out. And I mean, it truly was shocking. But yeah, Shandi, you know, she wants out of the show and essentially gets herself out and gets third place that season and goes back and just doesn't work as a model. Like it doesn't happen for her because she feels this experience was so triggering, so upsetting. It's the type of thing that ruins your future. And she said that, you know, her and this boyfriend tried to work it out, but then because, guys, in this day and age, we didn't have streaming. Millions of people watched like more people watched probably that episode than like all of the episodes on Bravo like this week combined. You know what I mean? Like there was that many individual viewers watching it, and you were famous, and she would get recognized on the street and people would be like, you're you're a slut, like because of what happened on the show. That
And it
has to ruin you.
and it's like word of mouth fame because it's like pre
Yeah.
social media, so it's like almost like the social media aspect kind of makes things feel like not real, and then it goes away, and like people have goldfish brain, and it just kind of goes away. I just can't imagine what it would feel like to be like a laughing stock by word of mouth in America, like throughout the whole country. Like literally
So
everybody's talking about you physically. They're, it's like
Yeah.
it's a mind fuck. And then they showed that clip of her like back at Walgreens, like working the register, and that lady being like, "Are you that next top model lady? Are you that next top model girl?" And she's like, "Uh-huh." Yes.
So then maybe like 5-6 years later, Tyra invites her and some of the other girls to come on to the Tyra Banks talk show, and she talks to Shandi live on TV about this moment, and Shandi says, "I still have not watched it. I won't ever watch it because it was so." She was assaulted. She was assaulted. I think there's not enough energy being given to the fact that this was assault. She was given alcohol, way too much alcohol, and that guy took it way too far. There's no way in the world he was as intoxicated as she was.
Right.
And assault happened in that apartment, and it was filmed on camera. And Tyra decides to show it to her on the Tyra show. That's another instance. We need to have a button that's like, that's Tyra. That is another instance of that's Tyra.
Yeah, totally. It was like, and you can see the wheels turning, and it all goes back to what we were saying earlier about how, like, that is why Tyra is such an integral part of this whole machine, because like she's the only one that can orchestrate such elaborate humiliation rituals on these girls. Like she's like evil den mother from hell, like, and she's so good at being evil den mother, like to orchestrate an entire thing around bringing the girls back. And it's so funny that they included that episode in the doc, because like I've just heard so many of the girls throughout the years when they talk about like their experiences when they go on podcasts and stuff, they always talk about that. Every single one of them has this traumatic incident that happened on that talk show where she like humiliates all of them, and they all felt lied to about why they were there, and things weren't clear about what they would be talking about on purpose. And yeah, Tyra is, she's a treacherous lady. She's quite scary.
Treacherous. She really truly is. So then after cycle 2, and essentially the oh wait, actually, sorry, one more thing about it. I feel like this also is so much in your universe.
Okay.
I thought it was insane that they mentioned Janet at the Super Bowl, and they were like, we had to pull back the edit on Shandi's assault.
Yeah.
Because the networks were pulling back like any sort of like references to sexual activity post the Super Bowl, which I'm like, you're telling me this was a edited down version, like a way edited down version of it? What was the first round of edits like that Tyra was sitting in there for? And also, this is another instance where Tyra and the editors of this, the producers of the stock did good work here. But, when this whole situation comes up, she's like, that's more of a production thing. That's not me. I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And literally, as she says it, Netflix runs, it says her Chiron that says Tyra Banks, executive producer, cycles 1 through 24.
Listen,
you're the EP, so you are a part of production.
Like you were aware of these things, Tyra. Like you can't be like, who was she? What was that? Like, come on. But I say all the time, pop culture and TV and everything was ruined after that fucking Super Bowl. It honestly, like,
yeah,
everything was different. Movies were different. Music was different. TV was different. Like everything was like very buttoned up. Everything. Not that like I don't need to see more of Shandi's like assault scenario, but just in general, like in all facets of pop culture, everything got very like conservative and buttoned up all of a sudden, and like very rigid, and but yeah, that is so interesting that had an effect on that. Like I can't even fathom. I guess they would have just made it the whole episode. It would have been the entire episode would have been about her being assaulted.
It had to have been. I mean, they I can't believe that they even thought that that was something they could get away with. But so this kind of transitions us into the mania of the most controversial shoots that have happened on ANTM. This is also where we get Tyra. This is also where we get Tyra saying that she said, I can feel and taste what people want to see and they want more. I'm like, girl, you just, I mean, and they did it all. Name a community, they offended them. I mean, some of the most controversial ones that they talk about. We have obviously blackface once, and round 1 and round 2, which it's crazy to me to do it once and then be like, let's revisit that. Insane to say. We also had the homelessness episode where we featured actual queer youth that were displaced from their homes as background models
with no, like, and by the way, we're donating blah 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 to blah blah blah. Nope. None of that at all.
We had the model ED photo shoot, which was that I forgot about. That was crazy. Essentially, it was like all the different tropes of a model, and it was all like bad things. It was like bulimia, anorexia, like I don't know all the other ones, but just the idea that they had one of those twins on that one season, like in a bathroom, like
with her
taking photos, gagging herself, like it's like. What?
Yeah, she like had smashed cake all over her face and in her fingers, and, like had her fingers down her throat. And it's really crazy to think like they started off so crazy with the photo shoots, like just out the gate, the theming of them was so insane. And you know, they talk about how they had to like top themselves every year to the point that it just got like, I mean, I was dying. I'm sure you were fucking cracking up when they got to the point that they were like, where Jay's like, you girls are gonna be Greek salads. I'm like, what is
Greek
going
salad
on?
takes me out. And you know, Kenya, we'll get to Kenya in a second, but Kenya brings up how, and this was one of my favorite moments in the doc. Kenya's like, I thought what we were doing was like peak fashion.
Yes,
like
yes,
absolutely. And baby, me too. At home, I was like, the girls who get it.
Yeah. She needs to be giving broken doll. She doesn't get it.
She's giving broken doll. She's an elephant, but she's a broken doll elephant.
Yeah.
And she needs to be smizing. Like, you're like, some girls get it, some girls don't. But Kenya says she went out into the real world and her portfolio from Cycle 4 was trash. She was like, there's too much creative behind all of these. There's too much makeup. You can't even see what you're working with. And that is such a gag to me because we really thought, we were like, no, like, this is high fashion.
Yeah, like,
this is high fashion.
I remember being like, at least she has her portfolio. At least she'll be able to go do go-sees with her huge portfolio with shots by people like Nigel Barker, David LaChapelle. And it's like cut to the photos and it's them like in full prosthetics as like elephants and giraffes and shit. Or like, yeah, the most over-themed, tacky photos. Like, it was just so...
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't believe that they actually came up with all those photo shoots. 2 cycles per year, by the way, for like 20 years. Like those themes were insane.
No, they were truly madness. What are some shoots that pop out to you that like you were like, and maybe they still are fierce, that you were like, oh, that one was everything to me when I was watching this?
7 Deadly Sins is one that sticks out to me. I always really loved that one. That's like a real classic one. The original where it's like we thought that they had gone the furthest they could possibly go, where Eva has the spider on her face. I mean,
so cunt.
It is literally, and then Joanna, the helmet,
epic. The
motorcycle helmet was like, there were some where I was like, no, that is like a fucking sick picture. Like, that's
I Cycle 4 for me had a lot of those bangers. Like, I stand by Cycle 4. I think is like maybe one of the great like top 3 seasons of theirs.
I agree with that.
I did a ranking on YouTube of like all of the cycles of where I put them in a ranking, And the ANTM fans ripped me apart for it.
Okay.
I was like, y'all, this is when the cycles came to me. Like, this is like my perspective on when I watched them, how that they affected me. Cycle 4 and cycle 6 for me are like the ultimate. Like, they are. Danny and Joni are like two of my favorite top twos, and their shoots were amazing. And same with cycle 4. And cycle 4 has pretty much every moment you remember from the show was in cycle 4. We were rooting for you. We have the girl passing out. We have the Kenya's whole storyline. We have
Tyra's strawberry hair.
Tyra's beautiful strawberry hair. We have 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot. We have so much. So,
well, because the show it hit its stride. It like that.
Yeah.
It hit its stride, and it hadn't jumped the shark, but it had money, and it wasn't like cheap and low budget. It was like perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to
another one. Oh no, you're not. You're good. Another one that they brought up that Jay was like, this was one where I was like, is this really what we're doing? Was what smoking can do to you?
Oh my god! Now that I forgot about.
I forgot about that too. How they had to be just gorgeous themselves, and then in the mirror they had to be like them with like emphysema. It was insane.
Tyra and it's just so funny because all of the shoots are just so Tyra.
So Tyra.
It's like, so a look into her madness, like,
yeah,
you know. And again, like on her talk show, she would do like those weird themes, like you know, where she pretended to be homeless, pretended to be a fat person, and like, or she would just do a really weird thing. Like, have you ever seen the episode of the Tyra Show where she comes out and pretends to have rabies?
Of course,
it's like one of the greatest.
Barking, like that's what happens when you have rabies.
And she spits that because she has like an Alka-Seltzer in her mouth or something, and she drools all over the women in the audience and doesn't even apologize or say anything. Like, it's like, this is so Tyra, you know?
Oh my god, she's insane. Well, we touched on it. Let's talk about it a little bit. So Kenya has a big moment. I realized I didn't mention her at the top of this, that she's in this. Kenya is one of the stars of this to me also.
Yeah, for sure.
She also, all these girls look gorgeous.
I know.
I'm like, Kenya's face card does not decline a day in her life.
She hasn't aged a moment since the show.
She looks better.
She does look better, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, you know, she talks a lot about, you know, her storyline that they gave her was that she was gaining too much weight filming the show. Mm-hmm. And she talked a lot about how she learned about reality television editing and how like they would always cut to her eating that bagel, even though she's like, I ate one bagel the whole time I was there, and you keep cutting to me eating this goddamn bagel because like you need something to be like, Kenya's really lost it.
Like as if this tiny young girl is sitting in the car eating like 6 bagels. Like it's like, why would you even do that? It's so stupid.
Insane. And so we get to. She makes it to top 5 or 6 where the precipice where like they get to go on the relocation overseas. Their first shoot in Africa it's a lubriderm shoot where they're on top of an alligator dressed as animals. Now, take Kenya out of the mix here. I do kind of stand by most of the other I think some of those photos are some of the best in Top Model. I know the creative is crazy, but like Brittany as like the giraffe is crazy. Mm-hmm. Naima as the cheetah. I mean, that photo is, I can draw you the photo. Like it's so great. And Kaylin as the, what is it? The gazelle or like with the antlers and stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks like they spent a lot of energy on the creative to make it look really nice. And what does Kenya get? A freaking elephant. Like, what are we doing? And also not even, it really looks like they came up with that last minute too, like because her creative, like her wardrobe is so not in the same plane as the others. It looks like a kid's elephant costume. It's like cardboard elephant ears she's wearing as almost like a backpack, and then her arm is just painted like a trunk. Like that's it. She has nothing else, and it's clearly just trying to like break her down, and it's so upsetting to see back.
And the power of editing is crazy because I do remember as a young person being like, oh, like I believed she was gaining weight or whatever. Cause it's like, what else are you supposed to believe? And then you look at her and she's clearly like 3 feet tall and like 30 fucking pounds. Like she is teensy tiny Tim Toonty. She is little, a tiny little skinny girl. And they would like zoom in on her like bent over so that they would get a shot of like her stomach like rolling or something like that. Is like the most they could do to make her look fat is like a shot of her like bending down or something. But it was just
I don't really get it. Yeah, and Tyra says in the judging for that photo, like she's like, we had to retouch a lot to make your body look like this, and retouching is really expensive. I'm like, okay, if that's really the problem, if the photographer is like, this doesn't work, they're not gonna spend time and money retouching you. They're just gonna be like, they're just gonna dismiss you from the shoot, or they're not gonna hire you. Like if you don't fit the brief, like I don't know that you would have even gotten to that point.
Right.
And it's like you're just bringing this up because you want to humiliate this girl on national television, and it's disgusting. And then on top of that, the next episode, or maybe if not the next one, 2 episodes later, she herself has another instance of sexual assault on a photo shoot with a man who's doing the shoot with her, and it's like, and Mr. J, I thought this was a moment where Mr. J did not he didn't apologize enough for this. I feel like because they show him literally being like, we're all here, we're all watching it, like you're safe essentially. It's just the business, like you gotta be touchy-feely, and they just didn't handle that with care at all. And Tyra kind of laughed it off in judging too.
I honestly had completely forgotten about this. Like many things I was like, God, like I clearly as a young person, this like didn't matter to me or something. And now I'm like mortified by it. But yeah, that was absolutely crazy. And it was insane when she did finally like work up the courage to say something, and they all tried to make her feel really bad about like saying she was uncomfortable. It was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, it's there's just no sort of accountability. They're not taken with any care. It's all just, yeah. I can't believe how she was treated. I'm so happy that she is in a better place now and is able to talk about this with strength. Like she really, once again, breakout star of this. So let's get to our last couple of things we'll touch on. So first, in the photo shoot realm, another photo shoot that I had forgotten about was, and this is the only photo shoot that Ken Mock himself says that he regrets. He doesn't regret the blackface, but he does regret this, I guess, is the violent shoot of like women just being killed in different ways in Cycle 8.
Oh my God.
Now, I myself did not, like, when I remember watching that and when I was a kid and being like, fierce, like they're using cool makeup, it's bloody, like I liked like horror movies, like, oh, this is cool. But that's the problem. Like it's put in a way to make it seem like it was like cool. And it's like, no, we're just showcasing different ways you can kill women as a way of high fashion.
I 100% was in the same boat. As a young person, I was like, I'm a horror girly. This is like right up my alley. Like I thought it was cool. And now I'm like, what in God's name?
What were we thinking? But that's the problem. I think that's like the perfect example of the problem is that like when you create this IP of ANTM that like these things are all okay within the confines of modeling. Like these things are all okay within the confines of a photo shoot. You then think that that's okay. Like you get conditioned to think that that's normal. And it's like, no one would ask you to go pose with like a pill bottle like you had just OD'd. Like that's just not what happens. And the last part of this portion of it was that contestant Dion came out in the show and talked a lot about how she lost her mother to a violent offense. And
oh God,
I don't know if it was her mother, if it was her dad or like an ex-boyfriend or something, but did shoot her mom in the head.
Yeah.
And they decided for Dion's setup in the photo shoot to have her propped up against a wall with a head wound, like that she had gotten shot in the head. Like, that's an intentional decision that production made. That was intentional.
Yeah, and I wish that they had touched on this more. I guess they probably will on the other doc, because the other doc is tied to a podcast that got really popular about Next Top Model.
Yes.
And one of the entire episodes of the podcast revolves around the psych eval, and how
Mm-hmm.
like all the reality shows use this very specific psych eval, and like they all kind of use it in different ways. But on Top Model, they use it to create like triggering photo shoots. So it's that's like a perfect example.
Yeah, they're weaponizing it. I didn't even I didn't get to listen to all of the podcast, and I need to, but that's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like they all have a moment, and some of them just choose to not. Like she chose to not engage, which is the best thing to do. It's like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna bring up how this reminds me of my mom, because that's what they want you to do. Or if they find out that
She's
you're
smart.
afraid, you have a fear of like spiders or whatever, then obviously they're gonna cover you in them, or like, but they would come up with like really, really creative ways to trigger the girls, like not so head on the nail, like you're afraid of heights, we're gonna make you go high. It was more intense stuff like that is like extremely twisted. It's almost like I'd rather you just be like, you have afraid of heights, so we're gonna put you on top of a building, rather than like, you almost drowned as a kid, so we're gonna drown you. Like they would do shit like that.
It's so crazy to weaponize all of these people's trauma like that. But then last thing I want to kind of wrap up on is Danny and Joni, who once again, I love Cycle 6 down. This is one of my faves. And in this cycle, both of them had like different dental journeys that they were going on. Danny had a gap, and Joni had a tooth that was like over to the side. And for their makeovers, Tyra sent them to a dentist to change their teeth. Danny refuses at first to get anything done, but Joni goes ahead with it, and Joni, they essentially did a botched job on her teeth because they did it way too fast just to get her back on set for a photo shoot. And she had like fucked up issues post show because of what they did to her teeth. Like, what the hell?
It was randomly like the Swan moment, which like
Yep.
Top Model never really went towards like the Swan. They weren't getting like cosmetic surgeries or like liposuction and shit like that. Like that was like a rare case where it went like really physically far. And yeah, they said that she was in the chair for like 10 straight hours getting intense surgery. They pulled all those teeth, and then they shaved all of her teeth after they pulled them to make them even. Like, what
Crazy.
the fuck?
No, it is beyond upsetting. And Joni has a weird, not, I mean, it's her own perspective. She's kind of like, has a mixed bag on her perspective of the show in this doc. She's kind of like, it was terrible. That's not how I ever would have done it, but I don't know how I could have ever gotten it done because like I don't have money. Like I didn't have the money to do it. So it's just kind of like that I just got, why would I say no to it?
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
which I get, but Danny's situation, she rocked the gap tooth proudly and then didn't want to get it closed. And then later on, right before like the finale, got it closed on TV because Tyra essentially was like, I will just eliminate you. And this is another Tyra in the Talking Heads moment that I call bullshit on. She talked a lot about how she's like, it was the network execs. Like, it's not me. Like, they don't want, they're like, she will never work with that gap. And it's like, okay, girl, but like, what do you mean? Like, network execs were worried about if the girls would work or not because none of the girls worked after the show. Like, when was that ever the point? The network execs wanted people to watch the show. I don't think network execs were like, she'll never get booked by IMG models and be on runways because she has a gap in her teeth.
If anything, they were making sure that these girls wouldn't get booked. Like, if anything,
Yeah.
they were leaning in the other direction of like, let's just ruin any chance that they have of any kind of like notoriety outside of the show. Like,
Right.
what do they have? Like a portfolio of them in like insane photo shoots and the scarlet letter of whatever their edit was on this show. And like
Yeah.
Tyra knows. And then finding out that Tyra like clearly knew that the show would ruin all their chances of modeling. Like, what a crazy excuse that it's like, that was wild. And like the network execs didn't make you say all that shit to her in the judging panel and like pointing at her teeth and making her like making it seem like she was like some slack-jawed hillbilly dumbass Appalachian mountain bitch because she has a gap in her mouth. Like, they didn't make you say that.
No. That's you. You and once again, back to what we were saying earlier, like she held Danny to a completely different standard than the other girls. It's an instance again of her treating the black women on this franchise completely differently.
Yeah.
And she thinks it's low class, I think, in her brain. For Danny to have a gap in her teeth. But when in season 15 or 16, whatever season that was, don't come at me for not getting my season cycles right. These ANTM kids are crazy. These kids are crazy. No, but when a white girl has a gap in her teeth, they want to make the gap bigger for the white girl. But then the gap has to be smaller for the black girl. What are we doing here? Tyra, look within. It's beyond to me.
By the way, I've realized I was thinking of Yaya.
With what?
Yaya was the one that Tyra was like, you're just too Afrocentric.
Oh, yes, because
like,
she's like, I am a black woman. I'm proud to be a black woman. I want to wear my black hair. I want to be black on America's Next Top Model. And she wanted to silence that. You're
Tyra
right.
was like, she literally was like, it's okay to be proud of who you are, but like, she literally says you're shoving it in people's faces. What? Like, what did you just say?
My dog is coming in to say hi. My black dog.
Your black dog is like, actually,
Tom, step away. Let me take to the mic.
He comes in and starts winding his neck in the microphone. He's like, and then another thing.
That was funny. So once again, like I said, it's just an age-old like situation of her just the standards are different between these black and white contestants, and it really bums me out. That kind of wraps. The last thing about episode 2 that happens is we get a little more lore on Mr. J and how he tried to exit the show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And she essentially said, "You can't." Yeah. I'm of a couple minds with him.
Okay.
I sometimes he gives the vibes of just like a little bit better version of Tyra. Like,
I'm glad that you're saying this.
I do buy that she was so controlling. I know she hated the fact that Miss J and Mr. J became famous off of her show. Like that, they talked about that story early on about like them getting recognized and not her. But there's something
She's like, they're stealing my shine. I'm walking down the street, everybody's saying hi to them. I'm like, what about me? Don't forget about me. I'm tired. Don't steal my shine.
I'm like, you're fine,
girl.
But there's something about him that's the way he wrote that novel was so bizarre to me during COVID. I felt like the way he tried to get ahead during COVID, he decided he needed to just talk about it all because everyone was watching it, and kind of capitalized off the fact that everyone was watching it and cleaned his name, I think, a little bit of like the bad behavior by talking about it. And part of me is like, yeah, but you made money off of this fucked up legacy in 2020 by writing that book, by doing Instagram lives with all the girls, chatting about photo shoots. Like, I still think you kind of are no better in certain ways than her in the way you navigate the post-show world.
I 100% agree. I think that if Tyra is Den Mother, he's Den Mother's assistant. Like, he is like the evil assistant to the evil lady. Like, he's not I don't think that he's like any. It's almost like he's disarming because he's Jay and he's cute and funny and
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's got a great personality and we love seeing him at the photo shoots and stuff and whatever. But can't forget the fact that he was just as much involved in all of that stuff as Tyra and treated those girls like absolute dog shit. And he was not, let's just say he was not a safe space.
No, he wasn't at all. He was so hard on them and not oftentimes not super helpful. And I think he has a kind of hunger to get to the top of the food chain, just like Tyra does.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyra just got there quicker. And so I think he just didn't like that he couldn't be in charge of the show. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think that's part of the reason why he wanted to get out. He tries to claim in this that he wanted to get out because the creative had gotten too like inappropriate and bizarre. I'm like, I don't think that's why you wanted to leave.
No.
I think you wanted to leave because you knew the show could never be ANTM with host Jay Manuel.
Yeah, pretty much. Because the
You know?
the theming was insane already. Like the shoots that he took part in were fucking insane.
From the jump. Like
From the jump.
you've been there from the beginning. The shoots were crazy in cycle 2. Like we're not doing anything, yeah. But well, more on Jay's exit, more on the Tiffany of it all in next episode. Troy, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. I mean, this flew by.
I know.
All this stuff.
Well, I love talking to you and I love recording with you. I love being on your show and I'm just anytime. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, please. Are there any to end on a light note? I want you to give me some favorite winners.
Okay.
And any like moments that hee hee ha ha bring joy from the legacy of America's Next Top Model. If we can try and give them some smiles today, the listeners, because we talked a lot of triggering topics in the last hour and a half.
Well, I've always been an Eva girl. Eva will always be my favorite winner. I always loved her, and she was my pick from day one on her season. And honestly, like, I know that we look back on like the problematic photo shoots and stuff, but like I loved the kooky photo shoots. Like where else are
I'm
you
here
gonna
for
see?
silly.
It's silly. Like where else are you gonna see girls in a giant salad pouring
In a
Greek
bowl
dressing
of
on
feta.
themselves in a bowl of big giant feta blocks? Like it's absurd. And I always really liked the I remember just as a young person, like the finales, I was like, I'm watching prestige fashion. Like I may as well be a Milan. I like the finale runways were always just such a big deal to me. The giant moving clock things hitting them off the runway, the ball, the glitter ball that they had to walk on water, and just like how crazy those got. Like the haunted house one where they were like on strings, like gliding through I mean,
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the one where they scaled the
agree.
building.
The silly camp is really where the show shines as a viewer. Like it's so fun.
Yes,
I think I would say wait. Okay, one last contestant thing for you though. Eva's your favorite winner. Are there any other like people that you're like justice for that should have won, runner-ups that just missed the mark? Anyone that you're like you think about? I can't believe they didn't win.
Oh god, that's a tough one. I guess I don't even remember if she won or not. Maybe she did win, but I always really loved. I think her name was Allison. She had like
Allison Harvard. She never won.
She didn't win, right?
See, she was on twice too. She was on cycle I think 12 or 13, and then she was on All Stars. Lost them both.
She's always really stuck with me. Like I just always felt like this girl is way too good to be on this show. Like she actually has potential to be like a era defining model, and her talent is being wasted here doing like weird themed like craft macaroni and cheese photo shoots and shit. Like she was one that I was like, damn, if she had just met like a real modeling agency or something, she could have taken over the world. I always really loved her.
I agree. My standout winners and runner-ups, I would say mine are Danny will always be my favorite winner. Not just because of the stock. I've been riding hard for Danny since I watched Cycle 6. There's just something about her that has always been absolute banger to me.
Yeah, yes.
I agree with you. Silly always wins for me. I think it's just so funny. All of the silly runways and things they get into. And then the runner up for me that should have won. Wait, a silly moment that we have to talk about is Jade in the commercial in Cycle 6.
Oh my
where
God.
She's like, where she's
Oh
like,
my God.
hi.
I just love being at a party. Don't you love the party? I love it. What a party. Oh, Jade.
So,
yes.
Jade.
In that Russian, I can't think of her name, but they had a little clip of her.
With Jocelyn. She got the runner up to Jocelyn. What was her name?
She was so fucking funny.
Yeah, because she would just say the most, like, she would, like, eviscerate the girls. And she's
Yes.
like, it's okay, I'm Russian.
Yeah. She'd be like, if you can't make it to go see, it's your problem. Walk until you can't walk anymore. Bleed.
Runner up, Natasha. How
Natasha.
can I forget?
Yes. And she always put her hair in, like, a big ponytail on top of her head. Like, she's, like, did not give a fuck.
Yes. And then for me, I would say also, I have to agree that Allison should have won. I also will always die on the hill that season 5, Nick should have won over Nicole. The girls that know get it.
God.
Nicole was
You're
like this
reminding me of all these people.
basic cover girl, and Nick was this high fashion model, and they gave it to the basic cover girl.
Yes, which they would randomly do that sometimes.
I know, because I think they wanted to like appease the execs, in the words of Tyra.
God, that is, I mean, I'm looking at them side to side. It's like literally a girl that works at like a frozen yogurt place and a model.
Yep.
Next to a
That's one of the
model.
things. That's one of the things I got dragged for on YouTube. There are a lot of Nicole fans out there, so get ready for that.
Oh,
Troy.
interesting. Okay, all right. I'm ready to fight.
Well, Troy, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. Let everyone know where they can follow you, listen to you, and see you on tour, all that stuff.
Well, I host 2 podcasts. One of them is called Beyond the Blinds, and then the other one is called What's Your Issue? On Beyond the Blinds, we do pop culture deep dives and blind items and gossipy, dark-sided type things. And then on What's Your Issue, we talk about vintage magazines. My co-host and I collect magazines. So each week we go look through like a vintage article and talk about it and stuff, and it's fun. And I'm on the internet everywhere at Troy Jean Spears. That's my birth name.
One of the best handles that's out there. Guys, thank you so much for being here. You can follow me at the Tom Hamlet and follow the show everywhere podcasts are heard and also on YouTube. And we will be back in a couple days with part 2 of our ANTM doc coverage with Kate Kennedy from Be There in 5. And we'll see y'all later. Troy, say bye to everyone. Bye.
Bye.